All right, now with the biggest story in college football right now, the Colorado Buffaloes, baby. We're just here to talk about the future of them and what we see going forward and what our predictions and projections. So what are your thoughts on Colorado, Ray?
I think the biggest thing for them is right now is Shador. I think he's really, really good. I have him third on my quarterbacks list. I think he's absolutely just a phenom. I think he's really emerged, and I think it's good for him to be on this stage to show himself. I think he's NFL ready. I think he can really throw the ball. I think he has good decision making. I think he's a good leader. They have really good weapons on offense. The only thing is their defense is lackluster, and I feel like they're going to struggle this week against Oregon. And going forward, I feel like they also I think they're really built off of a lot of hype around them. I think primetime has brought a lot to them. I feel like the hype is going to die down some as soon as they lose a game, which could be this week, could be next week. There's no telling, but I really feel like once that hype is gone, they're not going to have as much to drive them because I feel like there's teams around them that are a lot more talented and complete than they are. So I feel like after they get that first loss and once their defense starts to dwindle with those good loaded Pac-12 offenses, I feel like their team's really going to start to struggle.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, who would have thought? I mean, what happens next is my biggest question. I feel like no matter what happens after this season, is a success, man. I mean, you came in, beat TCU, won your next two games. You've done what you've done more than what everybody thought you would. So no matter what happens, this is a success. So and Shadur Williams, or Shadur Sanders, freak. Travis Hunter, freak. Dylan Edwards, freak. Xavier Weaver, freak. They've got talent, but as you know, I mean, it's really like the O line and the D line. That's what separates the top dogs. So my thing is, what happens next? Because Shadur, no matter what he does, going forward, I feel like he's a lot to go in the first round, pretty much no matter what happens. So will he leave? I mean, Deion's talking like he's planning on staying there forever, but will he leave? Because he's going to get calls, from different schools. Maybe the SEC will call, maybe the NFL will call, but he's going to get calls. So I think my biggest question is what happens next? Because if they run this thing back, they're only going to get better talent. They're only going to get bigger, stronger, faster players. So, I mean, I think the sky's the limit for them, honestly. This year, I mean, I don't see him beating either Oregon or USC, but I didn't see him beating TCU either. So you never know what happens. But no matter what, this has been a huge success for Colorado.
Yeah, it's bringing a lot to them, and I think Deion's really good at recruiting. And like you said, I think they're just missing those big guys up front. Even Deion said that. I think he just says that they're them away from an absolutely disgusting team, and I agree with him. I think their offense is really good. I don't know how good they're going to be. I don't know what kind of quarterback they can bring in. They're going to lose a lot of talent this year to the draft. I think Shadur is gone, but I really believe that Deion's going to continue to bring, as long as he's at Colorado, will continue to bring in a lot of good players and recruiting.
So you think Deion stays if Shadur goes pro?
Yeah, I mean, Deion's already said that he doesn't really feel like he wants to go to the NFL. He said he really likes it at Colorado, so I think he's got a couple of years there at least.
Well, plus Travis has another year no matter what, because he's only a sophomore, so he can't even go pro.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he'll stay. But if Shadur stays again, I think there'll be something to watch next year. But we'll see.
Sure. Next up, we got to look into the future of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Slow start this year. Already got a loss in week 2. Outside of the top 10 for the first time in 8 years. Had a really bad showing last week against a pretty lackluster South Florida team. So we're looking at them coming up this year. What's your thoughts, Kyle?
Yeah, man. I mean, when you hear Crimson Tide, you think of national championships, top dog, never outside the top 5 usually, But, I mean, it really comes down to, I think the transfer portal plays a huge part in this, man. I think the competition is starting to catch up to him now. I think with the portal, because Alabama used to have so much talent, top draft class, always a top 3 draft class. But I feel like now with the transfer portal, I mean, you see Florida State, man, and the year they spin this thing around, getting Keon Coleman, getting Jaheim Bell from South Carolina, just getting those explosive players who can match the SEC football type level. And I think they proved that when they played at LSU. But, I think the biggest thing for them is getting back to what they used to be, defense and running the ball. And I feel like when you lose a Bryce Young, the number 1 overall pick, I felt like he kind of covered up a lot of their mistakes. So I feel like they didn't realize how many they had with the O line, with the receivers. I mean, when you have a great quarterback, he makes people look better. You think of Brady, how he made the receivers look better. So I feel like after he left, I think they thought they were better than they actually are. So I feel like without Bryce Young, you have Miro now, and he doesn't cover up those holes like Bryce Young did. And I feel like I mean, the competition is catching up to him, in my opinion. What are your thoughts, Ray?
Oh, that's actually my second point on my list. Is college football is catching up. I agree. Alabama started in 2012 through 2017 had the number one draft class, and they've had a couple of years off. But I mean, they're starting to dwindle. They um, they're having an off year this year for sure, but I think a lot of teams are starting to build on what they feel like their needs are with players that are ready to play instead of having to go and getting them in and fighting Alabama for them in recruitment and having to build them up. Like you said with the transfer portal, I think it's really starting to help them. I think another thing that's really holding this Alabama team back internally, besides for their quarterback situation, is the Nick Saban retirement rumors. I don't know that he's going to be done anytime soon, but as close people to him seem to think so. He's getting up there in age, and especially with this team starting to go down, I figured for a while, as soon as the team started to go down, he would be out of there. He'd be ready to go. But I don't think they're going to have a great year this year. I think they're going to have a couple more losses by the time the year's gone. But I think their biggest problem right now is quarterback. I think Jalen Milroe is not their guy, but I don't think they have a guy. I think he's got to be the guy. They do have a lot of good players. I mean, they've got two stud DBs with Malachi Moore and Kool-Aid McKinstry. They got a great linebacker in Dallas Turner. They have a great running back. They have a great wide receiver with Benson. I just feel like they're missing that key component that they lost last year, and I think that's their biggest flaw right now, and I think that's what's going to continue to hold them back. I feel like if they can get a quarterback, they can develop a quarterback after this year. And Nick Saban does stay, I think they'll start to get back to what they were. I don't know if they'll ever be the consensus number one every year and stay up there, but I feel like this year they're going to definitely struggle some more because I don't believe they're going to be able to find a quarterback.
Yeah, which I mean also there was a reason why after the spring they brought in a Tyler Beckner to fight for quarterback battle. They weren't just doing that for the fun of what I'm saying. They realized they had a problem there and they didn't have enough time to fix it. And one of the reasons why they lost to Texas, the turnovers, he had one terrible interception, another pretty bad one. So I feel like they'll be more conservative when it comes to their offense and try to play more towards Milroe's strengths than his weaknesses.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to run the ball this year. I think they're going to have to run it with McKellen and with Milroe because I don't believe they have a passing game with Milroe. So I think they're going to have to run the ball, and it's going to be tough and get some good SEC fronts they'll face.
Yeah, I mean, especially and their O-line is, not very good at all. So they're going to try to run the ball and they're going to try to be successful, but they're going to force Milroe to throw, and I think that'll end up just killing them again.